looks like it's working. I still haven't fixed the sound. Might still be a bit naughty on the sound side of things. Sound side. Apart from that, if anyone is around and wants to have a chat, then we can do that. Yes, we can definitely do that. Have they updated this yet? There are no updates at all. Miles behind. Miles behind. Yes. So if people are watching, then probably people are watching. I'll just log in myself and make sure that I can be heard and things like that. Someone can type something in a chat and say, "G'day, Mark," and we can take it from there. Let's see. Oh, there's my girlfriend's drink. She's at work today, which is pretty good. Whereabouts am I? I need to go here and here. No one said anything yet, so I don't know if I'm actually visible. Oh, we've got one person watching. Now we've got two. It's probably me. So we are away. Oh, having a chat. What is it? It's 4 p.m. here in Thailand. I think that's 8 p.m. 8 p.m. in Sydney time. Which means it's 5 p.m. Perth time. If no one wants to chat, then I will. Oh, hi handsome. What am I up to today? I've been programming. Nikesh, how safe is going with an employer? I had my 482 skills in demand refusal because of a genuine position. Well, I probably need a bit more information. Nikesh, when do you mean how safe is it? What, do you want to do a direct entry application? That doesn't sound too smart. Why was it refused? Because it's a genuine position. If the circumstances haven't changed, Ryan, you're back. If your circumstances haven't changed, Nikesh, then it'll still be not a genuine position, will it? So I wouldn't say it's safe at all. But you might be able to rectify the genuine position problem. But the smartest thing, like if you're looking at, like it's all a lot of speculation here because I don't have any facts, right? But if you're looking at doing a 186 direct entry, you need to show, like if you've been working in the job and getting paid, it's obviously a genuine position. But if you don't meet certain caveats or something like that, then it's not, maybe you can't rectify it. You need to get some proper advice. Steve, can bridging visa B rejection cause any? No, it can't. So your bridging visa B can be rejected because the reason that you were going to travel no longer exists because they took so long to process it that you no longer need to travel overseas. Happy Christmas to everyone. Yes, we're in December. Or if we're in America, we won't say Merry Christmas. We'll say Happy Holidays because you wouldn't want to offend anyone. In the app, can I find a chemist sponsor? I don't know. I don't know if I can have a quick look. Job sponsors, chemists. Yes. I'm not. Yeah. There are chemists listed, but some of them are in biotech, but others are in mining. So it might be because they've got they're not necessarily pharmacists. It depends what kind of chemist you are. If you're looking for a pharmacy or if you're mixing the chemicals together. So there's jobs there. So you can have a look. Nikesh Giri. We applied 2 people. One got nomination approved, but mine was refused. Nikesh, book an appointment and show me your refusal letter and the facts, and I can help you out. So, hi, Mr. Hua Hin. Are you coming to Australia soon? I'm not. I have no plans to come to Australia soon. Well, actually, it's not exactly true. I do have some plans to come to Australia, but they're not really plans. I've got to come. I've got some film equipment because I did a Masters of Film, and I had a film studio before I left, and like a green screen studio. And I've got a lot of stuff that's in storage, costing me money. Although one of my filmmaking buddies is using half of it. But there's other personal goods that I need to collect and bring here to Thailand. So I need to come over and do that and do some other stuff. But I have no plans to spend a protracted period of time in Australia currently, although that could change. So yeah, I'm doing well. Share and like and tap on the screen to get more people watching. Ask questions. The jinx with my student visa expiring in 3 months. How soon should I jump on the graduate visa? Well, look, if you're eligible, apply, right? That's like the golden rule. You leave it to the last day, and then you read, like especially if you're doing it yourself, leave it to the last day. Then you find out that you need an extra day from when you apply for your police clearance, and then you run out of time and you're screwed. So, look, if you're eligible, apply, right? There's no, like, if you're going for a graduate visa, you obviously want to stay in Australia. So time frame, everyone else is trying to get as fast as possible. Why are you trying to prolong the difficulty? If you're eligible, lodge. Miriama, I'm on bridging visa A, waiting for the tribunal. Can I leave the country anytime I want? You can always leave. It's whether or not you can get back in or not. There's no restrictions on people leaving the country, but if you don't have a bridging visa B, you can't come back into the country. Unless you apply for another visa. So typically, if people are on a bridging visa A, they've got work rights and they're working and they want to maintain their work rights. If you don't have work rights because you came on a tourist visa and, I don't know, you made an application, it was unsuccessful, then you can leave and you come back on another tourist visa. If they grant you one, depends on your situation. But you can always leave the country. There's a whole, well, there's not a whole chapter, but there's definitely a point in the UN Charter on Rights that people have the right to free travel and leaving countries and things like that. So unless you've committed a crime and you're required to remain in the country, you can leave at any stage. But you can only get back if you've got a bridging visa B. If you're waiting for a tribunal outcome, you probably should hang around. Like the whole point of bridging visas, even though the government abuses the shit out of them, is that they're to tide you over until a decision's made. They're not designed as sort of a long-term solution to visa issues. They're designed for people who have to stay in the country waiting for a decision. If you don't, like I know the government's taking forever for ART, like you could be waiting 2 years on a bridging visa. It's a bit of a joke, or it's a lot of a joke. If you want to leave the country for a protracted period, you should just leave and then get your visa granted or whatever. So yeah, you may not know this. That's correct. Australia Jobs, NSR LFC. Tiger has liked the live. Good on you, darling. So it's my girlfriend. She's at work, wondering what I'm doing. James Bryan's joined. How is everyone? What's going on? We've got 10 people watching, which is nice. Tiger got the number 3 gifter badge. She must have been sending me. She must be sent me a cent. Good on her. She had to lend me some money this morning. I get paid tomorrow, and I was like, we had to pay the rent, and I gave her the money for the rent, and I was like, I won't have any money till the 4th. Oh! So anyway, that's tomorrow. So, and then I've got a brand new Mac Mini 24 gig M4 and I've been moving everything onto that, all my AI stuff, and doing some really cool AI things, which will scan people's resumes and passports. All the when people supply their documents, the idea is that they'll just upload their passport and it'll go bang, 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 bang. There's all your details and put it into our database for us. So we'll still need to manually check them, of course, but we won't need to manually enter them, which is good. And we get right into the AI stuff. It's amazing stuff, AI. I'm not a g'day citizen, a citizen. I'm not like AI is also pretty stupid. It's good for doing things it's trained on because it's basically a giant pattern recognition thing. And it's good for things like programming because programming languages have no, like you either get the syntax right or you don't get the syntax right, okay? So they're either right or wrong. There's no sort of grey areas with things like that. But it's no good at anything that requires thought or memory really. They don't learn. So so I'm not too scared about people losing their jobs, apart from people like call center people and things like that, low end processing and things. Yeah. Oh, Australian jobs high. Citizen is from Bahrain. Good on ya. Joe M, what's causing the delay for 482 June applicants? It's not just June, champ. They've been delayed since the system came in December last year. The delay is sort of two or threefold, I suppose. Firstly, we're getting more applications for work visas. Students who are onshore are realising they're not going to get a GSM application in a 189 or a 190, and they can't apply for a student visa again, so they're going work, right? More demand, basically, and not only that, the morons in the department who are setting planning levels are planning for like half the number of applications we're actually receiving, and that it might just seem like a number, but that number's determines in the budget back in March, how many staff the department gets in each department. So when they say we're going to get 40,000 applications, well, they only staff it for 40,000 applications to get processed in 12 months. If we get 80,000 or 100,000 or however many we get, then the time frames get longer. So that's the reason. It's like of all the visas that we should be getting people here on, work visas are the best, right? Because they're the people that go straight into the job and start creating productivity and solving problems, and whether it's building houses or working in hospitals or teaching in schools, they start on day one. And they're supposed to be processed within 28 days. They're supposed to be processed in 7 days if it's a high, like if you're a pre-approved super sponsor or whatever they call them, and they're taking between 3 and 6 months. I mean, 50% take more than 3 months. I mean, it's outrageous. So, how accurate is Pathway 1 for 491? I am eligible with 80 points at the moment. Well, Pathway 1, I assume you're talking New South Wales. I don't know. I've never done a 419 visa. It's an absolute visa of last resort. It means you can't get a 189, you can't get a 190, you can't get a job, and so you're basically hanging on by the skin of your teeth, hoping that you're going to get through. So, and like, for every occupation, they might take 10 or 20 people, and there's 1,000 or whatever. So, just because it's like, it could say 80. If you got Aussie visa, mate, like I haven't updated this month yet because I've been so bloody busy. But I'll probably do it tonight. There it is there. If I type in, just say cook, and look at 491s. So there's 4,000 cooks, 330 offers, and you basically, we predict you need 100 as your cutoff score. And that's what you need. And then on top of that, you get 15 points for getting a 491 application. I mean, this is how broken the system is. You're supposed to have 60 points, or state sponsorship give you 5 points, or 50 points is a minimum, right? I mean, they should. Most of these, apart from some trades and things like that, most of these occupations, we've got at least 10 times as many people as there's places, probably 20 or more. They're reducing the numbers on the 491s and the 190s. So there's fewer places, more people, and saying that 60 is possible, I mean, no way. And yeah, like recent offers, like for cooks, less than 20 in the ACT, 36 in New South Wales, 28 in Tasmania. Western Australia, 216. Sounds like it's a place to go if you're a cook, Western Australia, but they've got 2,680 applicants. So all the cook applicants have gone to WA. I'm sure they don't need 4,000 cooks, but this is the problem, right? You need to get work, right? You need a job and get sponsored on a 482. Prakash, even without any English score, if the company is ready to sponsor, can apply for a 186. No, not unless you've got a passport from England, Ireland, USA, Canada, or what's the other one? England, Ireland, USA, Canada. There's 5 places. Mate, Scotland, does Scotland have their own passport? Or is that British? It's British, UK, Canada. Oh, New Zealanders, of course. Forgot about the Kiwis. No, you must have, at the time of application, and for a 186, you need competent English, which is IELTS 6. So, yes, so can't get a English exemption anymore. You used to be able to in the good old days. You get age exemptions, but not anymore. How to apply for a working visa. Citizen in Bahrain, you need a sponsor as a start. You need a job that's on the, generally speaking, you need a job that's on the Combined Skilled Occupation List, the CSOL. You've got to be paid over $76,515. You've got to be sponsored or nominated by your employer, and you've got to have at least IELTS 5 to get a work visa. So you need an English test as well. Hi sir, chef in Adelaide, 491, chefs. I just did cooks, chefs. You could download Aussie Visa, mate, and check it out for yourself. I will update the data tonight or tomorrow morning, and it gets updated live. So, but I've been moving everything onto my new super fast Mac. Chefs 491. Chefs 491, South Australia. 2,075 applicants, only 167 offers. We say you need 100 points. So you've got 100 points. In South Australia, there's 2,000 applicants. I don't know how many of them are on 100 points, but you're still going to struggle. Yeah, you might get there, you might not. Depends on how many people they do every round. How many people are joining the system. Sponsorship. What are we up to? You might not know this, Ludo Creator, but it's coming up to Christmas. I should get some Christmas merch out, shouldn't I? Do you have school for new drivers, Raphael? I don't currently have. Even though I've had like 1,000 truck drivers register, no one has been interest. They all just sort of want jobs and send me a visa, and I'll, like it's a tourist thing or something like that, and I'll come across. Um, you need like when you say for new drivers, you need to have work experience to get the visa. So if you don't have 2 or 3 years truck driving experience, you're not going to be eligible to get a visa. You can always come here as a tourist and get your heavy vehicle license. It takes, well, if you get a tourist visa for at least a month, it takes 1 to 3 weeks. And you can enroll in a registered training organisation and learn how to drive a heavy truck and do all the other things that you need, medicals and all that kind of stuff. Guri Gujar. I applied for a 186 in April. How long does it take to grant? It takes 12 to 14 months. Direct entry, 13 to 14 months. So, well, that's for 50% of cases. So direct entry is faster. So it's 13 months, 13 for 50% and 18 months for 90% of cases. I lodged a couple in April, a baker in April, and I haven't heard anything. So still waiting. What's the processing time for a 482? 3 to 6 months. Probably longer than that because the department won't do anything in January. They're always asleep because of Christmas and people taking annual leave, etc. Duk Nguyen is back. I'd like to connect with you to bring workers from Vietnam. What do you think? Well, look, you can. I'm happy to talk to people. The thing is, I don't sponsor people myself. We're only recruiting for aged care workers, and the thing is, you need to be able to get people into the country. There's 1.3 million international students, student graduates, not 482, 417 working holiday people, 1.3 million people who are already in the country on temporary visas, looking to get sponsored, who can already get local work experience and things like that. I'm not you can drop me an email, mark@dragonmigration.com, and let me know the kind of people that you bring in or you've got. But generally speaking, they need to have good English, like not just passable English. They need good English, and they'll need to be they need to be an aged care worker or a field that I'm recruiting for. So yeah. Garaji we've done. Govishana, working full-time ECT in Queensland region. What are the chances to secure 491 with 90 points? I think none. If you've got a job, get sponsored by the employer. Early childhood. There's what do you want to do? 491s? 491s. We say you need 105 points for a 491. So if you've got 90 points, you're nowhere near. So yeah, and it's just getting bigger every month. I don't know this month, but last month it was 7,964 total applicants and 9,300 including the 190, which is people applying for multiple states because they're offshore. 491s, there's only 5,500, but in Queensland, there's 235 applicants. I don't think it was on the list for Queensland last year, was it? Or they're only taking people with degrees or some such thing. Last year they took less than 20 people, so it took one or two people. They have got a larger quota this year, so maybe you'd be lucky, but I don't think you got enough points. I think you need to be sponsored. Hi, is it true the migration asked me for 8K Aussie for migration agent fee in front? Every migration agent is required, like a registered migration agent, is required to send you a client agreement before they take money from you, except for things like booking a meeting or something like that. But if they're going to process a visa for you, they have to send you a client agreement. The client agreement will outline what the fees are and what the payment structure is. If you've got someone asking you for $8,000 and you haven't got a contract for it from them, then that sounds pretty dodgy to me. But if you've got a contract, you should read it and see why you're paying $8,000. Because I don't know, maybe you've got to pay for it. Maybe you've got to pay for a skills assessment or whatever their fees are. I don't know. I normally charge like half my fees at the time you sign and the other half the week before you lodge. But then you might need to pay some fees. You might need to pay some, skills assessment fees, or maybe you've got to do some translations or something like that. But if that was me and I was charging someone $16,000, then they'd be doing something which required a shitload of work, like a business visa or some, not employment, not a 482, like maybe it's an employer who wants to get a labour agreement or something like that, something which takes a long time, a lot of work. I think if businesses want labour agreements, I think the going rate's about 12 grand, so it could be something like that. Don't know. But if you don't have a client agreement, dodgy as fuck for sure. How many points do I need for the 189 civil engineering, tech or draft person? Alex Kim, just download Aussie Visa, mate, and look it up. That's why I made the app, to make it so easy for people. Civil engineer, drafts person. There's 5,500 applicants. We offered 363. Predicted cutoff score was 80. For a drafts person, for a technician, 1,500 applicants, 100 were offered. Predicted cutoff score 85. So there you go. And those figures will change tomorrow because I'm going to update the data with the last month. So you should download Aussie Visa, mate, and keep up to date if points or skilled jobs are important to you. Because we also have the 482 sponsors, job sponsors, listing by occupation. So in the green, job sponsors, so all the approved sponsors, or the ones we've got details for, 3,400 companies, and the approved 482 sponsors who are eligible, who have recently advertised positions and are eligible to sponsor you. They're all there. You can contact them. It gets updated every Monday automatically, thank God. 80 points, Aries. I don't know what your occupation is, Aries, sorry. Giri says, thank you. Is the app on Android now? If you go to the website, you can download the Android version, which is just a packaged website, but it's available. All the information is available on the website. You can go to the website. You still need to subscribe to for the juicy stuff, but you subscribe through Stripe and you get access to all the good stuff. But if you just want the freebie stuff, which is processing times, points, tests, video tutorials, then that's there for free as well. AussieVisaMate.app. Can I find your email in this TikTok? Just send me a DM and I'll send you my email. No problem. What's the waiting time on a 461 visa? Let's have a look. It was 3 to 6 months, but seeing as I've got the page open, I'll look it up for you. 461. Oops, let's put in a real day. When are we? What month are we? We're in December now. Oh my God, 3rd of December. Whew. It says 72 days to 5 months. So if you're a Kiwi, it's going to take just over 2 months. You won't be here by Christmas, but you'll be here for the start of next year. 72 days to 5 months in 90% of times. So, Munjal, work as a chef, New South Regional, 24 hours a week on 39. What's my chance in pathway 1? I've got no idea, Munjal. So no idea. So it doesn't matter what your dollar amount is. It matters what your points are. But if you download Aussie Visa, mate, it'll be there. Nature Juanda, telecommunications network planners. Dearie me. Let's have a look. Telco. Oh, I can't do that. Tel-e-com, it's not that smart. Telecommunications, network engineer, network planner. There's 478 applicants, predicted cutoff score of 85, less than 20. So the thing is, even for 491, New South Wales took a fair few last year. Oh well, yeah, you might get up on a 491. People have taken them, but there's 720 applicants. Says there was 50 recent offers, so yeah, I don't know, 90 points. What did I say the points was? You're probably not going to get there with 90 points. There's 27 people on 100 points, and there's 29 people on 95 points. There's 73 people on 90 points like you are. So if we only took 50, then there's 54 people on 195 still. So you're unlikely, and then depending if you're at the top or the bottom of the 73, yes. But if you've got a job, get sponsored. Sent a heart me. Thank you, Chenga. Appreciate that. Car is sharing the live and encouraging more views to share. Do you have a consultation office based in Perth? I don't, because I'm based in Hua Hin, Thailand, but you can book a meeting with me through Zoom. More than happy to do that. And if you go to AussieVisaMate.app, there's a meetings link, or you can DM me and I can book one for you. I'm not actually sure if that was working at the moment, because I may have accidentally deleted it the other day, but you can just DM me and I'll send you an email. We can sort it out if you can. So when I went on the website, it says the origin has been unregistered from Argo Tunnel. Is it on now? Is it up now? This is because, hang on, Aussie Visa Mate's running at the moment because I just logged into it. So sometimes I have to restart things. It's definitely working at the moment because it allowed me to log in. So yes, yeah, it's on now. Yes, all weekend I've been trying to move things across, and I've been restarting things, and every time I restart, it goes down. So, but it comes back up pretty quick. But yeah, it's oh, dearie me. The joys of being a one-man operation, being a programmer and a migration person and a recruiter all at the same time. And a content creator, of course. So lots of things to do. Yes. I'll see what goes on. Who else has got questions for me? I've got 12 people watching. Any other questions? Otherwise, I'll go and do some work. I suppose it's getting cold back there in, certainly in Melbourne, probably not so much in Queensland and all that. Did everyone survive schoolies? I suppose schoolies is over now. All the high schools having speech nights and things like that through this week. Ludo, I cannot complain about Thailand. I love it, and I'm down to 79.3 kilos. I've started running again. I'm supposed to go for a run today, which I should do. And food's excellent. People say watch out for street food. I've been eating street food. I've had a couple of bad stomachs, but just for a night or something like that. I've not been so riddled that I've had to go to hospital or anything like that. It's great around here. Yeah, I have a laugh every time. Like I look at some place and I think, my God, that's a restaurant, and it's like 100 years old and a shanty little, you know. But people rush in and they buy stuff, so it's good. Roman Shrestra. It's a 309 champ. 300s I do not recommend. If you can, 309's a 2-stage process. 300's a 3-stage process. If you do a 300, your partner's not, they're going to get here in 18 months. If you do a 309, they're still going to get here in 18 months. So do a 309. So if they're obviously offshore, if you're not in Perth, Tasmania or the Northern Territory, you sign a relationship register because you only need one person in the country, and you do it as a partner visa. If you're in those other places, I suggest you travel to Thailand or Indonesia or somewhere like that and get married offshore and then lodge it. So, yeah. Jovan's got a question about temporary residence transition. Ask away. Don't tell me you've got questions. Ask them. But yeah, what are the requirements to start the process? I'm not sure which process you are talking about, but if you've got a question, you can ask it, be more specific, or drop me a DM. My girlfriend's joined again. She's like wondering what I'm doing. I'm still here, darling. Talking about going for a run. Might run down to get work. What else is going on? I'm waiting for Jovan, and I'm waiting for the Waya to ask questions. Give me more questions. Sonia's joined. Oop. Kennedy's following me. Good on you, Kennedy. Following's good. Following's free, of course. If you're not a follower, you can follow for free. And in 482 visa, you're on the 482, and it's already been 1 year and 3 months. Am I eligible to apply 186 next year? Well, you'll be eligible for transition after you've had 2 years of being granted the 482 visa. So I think it says something like you must hold a 482 visa for 2 years. So they can't count the bridging visa you've been waiting for. You can't count the time you've been working for them on your working holiday visa as a student or anything like that. It's 2 years from the date that the visa was granted. So you've got 9 months to go. Now, if you want, you can lodge a nomination before then, but the nomination's only valid for 6 months. But you can't actually lodge the visa component until you've got 2 years. So yeah, put it in your diary. If you've only got a 2-year 482 visa, then you only got 1 day to apply. You've got to apply on the last day of the visa. So I think they're talking about, well, I think there's been talk that they've extended it, but I haven't seen actually any legislation. I think that the department's just turning a blind eye to people who lodge it a couple of days late. If the 482 visa is 2 years, then will you still be eligible for the 186? Yes, because on the last day, you've held it for 2 years. So yes, but you've got to be careful though, because if it was granted while you were offshore, then there's a requirement that you've worked for a certain period of time as well. But the department is sort of made this announcement. I don't know, probably this time last year actually. They don't want a lot of people, because they had in the old system they had these 2-year 482s under the TSS. Was it the medium term stream where you only get a 2-year one or something like that, and so they basically didn't want people making an application just for a month so they could do a 186 application. So they basically sort of said, oh, we'll include the bridging visa time as part of that. But I haven't looked recently, but when I did look, they hadn't updated the legislation. So it just looks like they're turning a blind eye to it. Luckily, I haven't had anyone in that situation, and I haven't had to tell them I don't believe it's legal. But they may have updated the legislation now. So, yeah. BKB, visa under Masters in IT, is it eligible to PR and citizenship, and after how long? Well, just having a degree is not going to get you anything. You need a job, BKB. You need a job as an IT professional, and then you can get sponsored. That'll take you 2 years. Then you'll get PR, and then after you've been in Australia for 4 years and 12 months as a permanent resident, then you can get citizenship. So the minimum amount of time is 4 years to get citizenship. It'll probably take 5 years before you're an actual citizen, because it'll take them 12 months to process your citizenship application, because that's a 3-stage process now as well. You need to do a test. You need to apply and be approved, and then before you become a citizen, you need to go to a ceremony and get Vegemite smeared over your face and put Aerogard on and a cork hat and all that kind of stuff that makes you a true blue Aussie. You'd probably be right with if you got a master. I'll say you're an Indian. I'll say you'd be all right with the cricket bat. So yeah, you should be good. Renovate Raz. Hi there. Can we claim experience which has been deducted by VETASES for a 186 direct entry? Well, I don't know, because I haven't seen your application. But if VETASES has excluded it because it was work experience before you got qualified, then you won't be able to count that, right? Because the work experience is post qualification. So So without having seen why it's been excluded or whatever, then I can't tell you. But the rule is that your work experience only counts once you're qualified. So if you were working part-time while you were studying your degree in IT, you might have been a programmer, but you weren't a qualified programmer until you got your degree, and that's when your work experience counts from after that point, as an example. Madame has followed the host. Thank you very much. Ludacreator says thank you. Hi, Madam Trailer. Eunice has a question. I've applied for an 820 ITA. What's an ITA? Jim, wife doing PGCE as part of a school-centred in teacher training. This way viable for PR. I'm not sure, Jim. What you need to do is look up the registration body in Australia and find out whether that particular course is going to make it eligible for registration. Yep. Renovate Raz, which done you. Oops. Ludo, I'm not a citizen of Thailand. I'm miles from being a citizen of Thailand. Units, no update. Okay. Becoming a citizen of Thailand is actually quite difficult. You need to be, even retirees, I'll tell you, because I can get a retiree visa. I'm currently on a student visa, and I can't renew that again, but I'm eligible for a retirement visa, and if I'm married my girlfriend, I'll be eligible for a spouse visa. But both of those visas are non-immigrant visas. You have to renew them. Even a spouse visa doesn't give you permanent residence. You've got to renew them every 12 months, and you've still got to qualify and things like that. The only way you can get permanent residence is if you've been here on a work permit, which I could get if I had a spouse visa, but a retirement visa, you're not even eligible for one because you're retired, not working, right? Then if you've been on a work permit and you've done that for, I think, 3 years, and you've earned a minimum salary of, I'm not exactly sure how much, but a lot in Thai dollars, like maybe 80,000 US dollars or 100,000 Australian dollars annually for 3 years. So you pay tax on that money, and you've been in Thailand, working here for 3 years. Then you get permanent residence, and then I think it might be 5 years as a permanent resident. You can apply for citizenship, but they only do 500 people a year. So obviously it's Thailand. So the more you pay, the more likely you'll be selected. The more you earn, and the more you pay in tax, the more likely you'll be selected. But you have to actually, one of the required, you need to be basically fluent in Thai, so you need to be able to read and write Thai, which I'll be able to do, and you need to sing the national anthem, which I haven't learnt the national anthem yet, so it's a long process to become a citizen of Thailand. So, and I'm 57. I might not live long enough. Who knows? Joven, yep, you probably need to maybe apply for another 482 or do it on your last day, depending on how long your first one was for. Following away, moving to the UK, much easier than moving to Australia. Well, that's right. They've got a tunnel from Europe that you can just run through if you're quick. So it is easier to move to the UK. I finished my master's and started working, and I'm completing my 3 years in my occupation. So renovate, once you've got 3 years, you can do direct entry. If you want to do a 482, then you only need 12 months. It sounds like you'd be eligible. You need a sponsor, of course, and meet all the other requirements. You need the English requirement and stuff. So, BKB, I am Kenyan. Can you help in applying for a master's? I don't do student visas, but I can put you in touch with the guy who does. So if you drop me a DM, I can pass you on to the education agents that we use for processing student applications. So yeah, it won't be me personally helping you, but it will be an Australian-based student visa person who knows what they're doing. So they've got offices in. They don't just do Australia. They do the UK, Canada, and Japan, I think. So, or maybe the USA. But but they're a big international company who'd be able to help you out. Renovate, but when doing skills vet assess deducted 1 year. Well, so they might have. I don't know why you went to vet assess if you've got an IT. Well, maybe you don't have an IT degree. I don't know, but maybe they thought that the 1 year wasn't related to the job that you were doing. So let's say that you've got a master's as a cook or a chef, but they decided only 1 year you're only a cook, or maybe you're a kitchen hand, I don't know. And so it wasn't relevant experience. So that's why they would deduct it. So, yeah. It's a lot harder. Like even though it's a lot harder to get citizenship in Thailand, it is. And like I'm a great believer that all migrants should become citizens. In fact, I don't even believe in dual citizenship. I believe that if you become a citizen, you should you should give away your other one, right? In fact, I can't actually run for Parliament because my mother's British, or she was British. She's passed away now, but I'm entitled to British citizenship, and just because I'm entitled to it means I can't run for Parliament, because I could have a dual allegiance to a foreign country, even though that would be King Charles, who I think is the same king. I don't know. Tell me. But bearing that aside, everyone should become citizens of Australia if you're a permanent resident there. And there's really good reasons why you should do that. And it basically means that they can't get rid of you, because it's actually quite easy to get criminal records. And the way the government is now treating people with even relatively minor criminal records, you can find yourself or your teenage son who does something stupid, you might go, oh, I don't need to be a citizen and I love my old country and rah, 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 rah. But then your son does something as a stupid teenager, maybe he's doing some substances, or maybe he's driving a car like a maniac and he kills someone, and then he's getting deported because you haven't got citizenship, and he's got no family back in the home country, and it's a shit show, right? So if you're a permanent resident, it's not permanent, right? It's only a 5-year visa. You can stay indefinitely, but if you want to travel, you've got to renew it every 5 years, and you're always at risk of having that visa cancelled for whatever reason. And like the way things are going at the moment, like look at Trump and stuff like that. If you've got a political view he doesn't agree with, he's like, that's it, you're out, or, it's things get changed. Get your citizenship. But I think it actually should be a lot harder process. You should have to wait a lot longer than just 12 months of permanent residence. That's like nothing, right? But I think it should be a lot longer. It used to be a lot longer. I think it used to be 5 years. But, I think it should be a lot longer. Yeah. So that it's something that people strive for and don't take for granted. Yeah. Amy, received my invite. Very good. Got to be happy. Got to be happy. That's good news, Amy. Don't stuff it up. Just get your application in. You'll have to wait. Hopefully you're on shore, because midwife offshore, oh my God, it's going to take 2 years to get it granted. So, but at least you can make an application. Would it be hard for a Kiwi to get a job in Australia? No. Because like Kiwis, that's people with New Zealand passports, can basically jump on a plane and land, and you get the special category visa, which gives you full work rights. So you don't need to apply for anything. You just apply for a job, and you go, hey bro, I'm a Kiwi, and they go, here bro, take a job, easy. You see? Sorry about my lame Kiwi accent. So, Miramar, no, I mean, even moving legally to the UK is easier than moving to Australia. Well, look, Australia's become very expensive, very expensive. All visas are massively expensive. Spouse visas are massively expensive. In the UK, spouse visas, you need to have a salary. You can't just bring your wife. Even though I can get citizenship, I can move to the UK. I don't have the salary needed to bring my partner with me. So yeah, I don't know. Well, there's the easier side of things. There's the cost side of things. Certainly, Australia's a lot more expensive. Renovate Raz is in hospitality, working as a hotel manager. Well, there you go. Maybe they didn't think that you were in a management role. Maybe you're an assistant manager. Maybe I don't know. Maybe you're a night manager. I don't know. But they obviously didn't think that what you were doing was suitable to the task at hand. Johnny Waters, if you're on a 482, how many times can you can renew a 482 until the day you die? So you're probably not going to go backwards in English. You still need to be able to get get health insurance. You got a criteria to maintain your health insurance, but that's no problem if you're from the UK. You've got reciprocal Medicare, right? Or if you're from a country, some of the other European countries have got reciprocal Medicare, then But as a general rule, there's no age limit on. Well, there is no age limit on a 482, but you still need to meet the other criteria, such as maintaining health insurance. How long is 482 to PR process, and is it straightforward? It's very straightforward, and currently on the transition, it's taking 14 to 18 months. So it's taking another year. The only difference between a 482 and a 186 is the English language is higher. You need 6 instead of 5 on the IELTS system. And if you're exempt because you're British or Irish, then, or American or Canadian or Kiwis, those are the 5, then you've already got the criteria. In fact, if you come here as an international student now, you need IELTS 6. So even international students are getting across the line. For the aged care recruitment that I'm doing, getting a lot of people from overseas, and I'm just saying, look, if you don't have IELTS 6, it's not, you might be eligible, but it's not worth coming here because there's all these people with better English who are going to get the job over you, right? So, because one of the things that people look for is people with good English when they're employing you. I am an Australian citizen, born and bred. Yep. Madame, I'm a female driver from Uganda. I have 8 years experience. So, look, the problem people in Africa have got is it's very difficult to get to Australia. And to get to Australia as a tourist or a student, that's what is going to allow you to get the heavy vehicle license that you need to be eligible to get a work visa. So you can't apply for an Australian driver's license while you're offshore. So you've got 3 years experience, you're going to be able to get a skills assessment, but you still actually need to get the Australian license. And to do that, even though you've got one from overseas, because it's a commercial license, they don't just grant them to everyone. You need to go, and there's sort of like, there's a 1 to 3 week preparatory test where they teach you Australian road rules. They make sure you can drive, obviously. They do health checks. Commercial drivers have to do health checks, and you need to know Australian road rules, and you need to know some basic CPR and health-related emergency stuff. What to do in an emergency, or if you have a crash, or I don't know exactly what it is, but there's stuff to do there. It takes between one and 3 weeks. So if you can come here as a tourist, then you can book into one of those organisations, training organisations, and do your course and get your licence. You can look around for jobs even though you're not supposed to apply for work, but, you know, bang on a couple of doors and say, I'm a truck driver, what's going on? Do you need anyone? Will you sponsor me? And that's the thing. If you're going to come, you're coming from Africa, go to Perth, right? Because that's, one, it's closest for you, but also they need a lot of truck drivers there because a lot of mining and stuff going on as well. So, but they're not, you're not capable of being employed at the moment because you're not eligible because you don't have a license. So you need to get the license. You sort of need to get the skills assessment as well. But the thing you'll have the biggest problem with is probably getting a tourist visa. If you've got lots of money in the bank, that'll help. But yeah, so Amy's very happy. I'm sure you are. Look, I saw the Bollingers flowing at the midwifery. So ART processing time. Well, I think the queue last I looked, it's probably 2 months ago now, but it was 21 months from what I could gather. But that was when they hadn't even updated the stats last I looked. I looked in September or October, early October, and the last stats were in May. And it was like, they used to update them every month, but I mean, they've done it 3 times since they renamed themselves. It's like they took all the staff. They're just not doing anything. I know, it's crazy. B Rabbit, if I already did a diploma in a course, can I do another diploma in a different field? Well, yeah, you can. You ask me whether or not the student, you have to talk to an education agent to find out what they recommend. But if you've done a diploma, can you do another diploma? Well, the answer is yes. Whether you get a student visa or not, I don't know, or I probably suspect not. Cold beer. I'm working on an ABN salary. Can I apply 186 if my 3 years experience complete and hours too? Without tax, no chance. No chance. Oh, cool beer. You've got no chance. You might have saved some money. You might have saved some money, but you've blown your chances of getting PR. You'll need to do another 3 years. So there you go. Danny Cecil, teacher on. Oh, I had this guy once. It was an hysterical case. He was. I'm pretty sure he was a Kiwi, and he'd been going down to the local massage place, and he's like friendly with one of the local massage girls, and then they got raided, and she'd been working illegally on a student visa or something, and so he decided to marry her, and and anyway, I got her out. I got her out of detention, and then they wanted to get her work right so she could go back to work, and anyway, so he was going to supply his financials or whatever, and he goes, I said, I'll just give us your last 2 years tax return, and he goes, tax returns? I said, well, when was the last time you did one? He goes, oh, it's been a while. I was like, well, what have you been living off? He says, oh, I got compo because I was hit on the head while I was at work, and my solicitor said, whatever you do, don't work. So I haven't worked since. And I got his bank. I got just send me 3 months bank statements, and 3 months ago he had like $150,000 in the account, and then at the end of 3 months he had like $200 or something, and I was like, mate, you've blown 150 grand in 3 months. He goes, have I? Ooh. It was hysterical. I was, oh God, so funny. The whole thing was funny. The whole thing. Oh. And the woman in immigration hated me for getting her out of detention. Oh God, she wasn't a nice lady, and she hated me because I knew the law better than she did. So anyway, generally speaking, the people in immigration, especially the people at the front facing, really know their stuff. They can be really useful people to have on side. But not so much the people in compliance. Okay, teacher on a 189 in the UK, doing our medical next Tuesday. How long do you think is the wait? So, look, I was saying in August, I was saying probably 3 to 5 months, because that's how fast they were processing them at the start of this year, of last year's November quota. They were all processed by May. But the figures so far, they haven't processed any from August yet, because the wait times haven't changed. So May or June, I think you'll probably get your visa. So yeah. SAE, just got my 186 approved. Can I really leave my company? Okay, so it just depends. So this is the situation. If you did a transition, if you're on a 482 and you've transitioned to a 186, I think you're pretty safe, right? Because you've got PR and you can work and move and do whatever you want, right? If you've done direct entry, that company is paid $4,000 as a training levy, and they've made all these commitments to employ you and things like that. And if you don't turn up to work, then they're going to complain to the department. This guy's got PR and he's never worked a day in his life for us. And then the department will cancel your 186 because you had no intention of ever working for the company. You don't meet the criteria for the granting of the visa. And if you appeal, you'll lose, because the people who have previously appealed that kind of decision have lost. So if you did direct entry, then I think what you need to do is you either need to get yourself sacked, because then they can't complain that you're not showing up to work because they got rid of you, right? Or you need to take a job in the same field that is paying you substantially more money, right? And you need to go back to your first employer and say, I've been offered, say you're being paid $80,000, you can go back and you say, I've been offered $100,000 to go and work for this other company, will you match it? And if they say no, they go, okay, well, I'm resigning. And then if the department contacts you and said, well, you had no intention of working for the company, you can say, no, I did, but I'm working for another company now and I'm earning 25% more, and that's legitimate, right? So that's what your situation is. Either get yourself sacked, or and you can do that just by not showing up to work every Monday, right? They'll get sick of you eventually and get rid of you, right? Or if you've been on transition, 50% of people resign after they've got their visa. Like, you've done 2 years on transition, and then you've done another year and a half waiting for the 186 to come through. You've been working for the company for 12 months. But if you're really concerned about it, before you just pack up and leave, get a job to move somewhere else that's paying you more money. So, yeah, hopefully that explains it. Niche. I got my 190 grant from Northern Territory. Can I move to the New South Wales permanently? Well, I wouldn't recommend it. My understanding is that most of the states, if not the Northern Territory, when you get granted, they send you like some information quiz that they want you to, they sort of word it like, we're asking all new migrants what they think of Darwin and how we can improve it and make it a great tourist destination. But then what they really want to know is, have you fucking landed in Darwin, right? And then 3 or 6 months later, they'll write to you again, and this is our follow-up, and are you really enjoying your time, and how could we improve the state, and blah, 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 blah. They just want to know, are you still here, right? So, like it used to be the case, everyone, I mean, literally everyone who got state sponsorship in Western Australia didn't even go through Perth Airport. They would go to Sydney and they go, oh, Sydney's nice, I think I'll stay here, right? And they've cracked down on it, right? So look, you're supposed to, the fair go, mate, sort of situation. You've been lucky enough for the state government to offer you a spot because they want to grow their state economy. You should do the right thing and hang out there for 2 years. So, yeah, can I move? And I wouldn't just pack up my bags and leave. Like you can move, right? But you're at risk of having your visa cancelled, right? But if you can say, well, I was getting $50,000 working in the Northern Territory, or I was unemployed for 8 months and then I got a job in Queensland, so I've moved to Queensland. Well, you've got a good reason, right? But if you're just voluntarily packing your bags and going too many crocs in Darwin, no, I don't think you can. You've got to have a reason, otherwise you're at risk. Could be. Can I apply for a 186 while working on an ABN salary if my experience? Could be. If you didn't pay tax, then how can you prove that you've got 3 years experience, right? Because you can't, right? Can you? Right? Just because you got no way of independently proving that you've got 3 years experience. So, yeah. G sent some roses. Thanks, G. 10 roses is great. Bitsec, send me a love heart. No, a heart me. Good on you. Good on you, Bitsec. Merry Christmas to you, Jam. Have you got your spouse application through yet? B Rabbit, I'm on a 485. I did C3 and 4 and diploma of cook. I want to go for another diploma in a different field. Once you go and do a degree as a chef, I mean, if you've done a Cert 3 or 4 and a diploma as a cook, and now you've figured out you don't want to be a cook, I don't like your chances, B Rabbit. Unless you want to go into hospitality or something. It's got to be pseudo-related. I don't think picking up IT or aged care is going to help you at all. Could I explain a 403? Is that I think that's the Palm visa, isn't it? So, or the Mates visa. There's about 5 or 6. It's the International Relations visa. Is that the one? So it's 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 a it's a visa for for political reasons, right? So we want to keep India happy, so we've got the mates visa where 5,000 Indians can come to Australia for a period of time, and get, I don't know, they can come they get better benefits than whatever. It's like a working holiday visa, I think. There's the Palm Stream, which allows people in Pacific Islands like Fiji, Samoa, those kind of Vanuatu, those kind of places, to come and do farm work basically. Come here for 6 months picking fruit and stuff like that. And they might be able to do broader things. I don't know. But they're basically schemes that the government runs to for specific reasons that give them some sort of political benefits, keeping foreign governments or the Pacific Islands happy. There's another one for like nannies. If you're a dignitary and you've been working in Hong Kong and you've got an ama, that's like a nanny who looks after your kids and your family and might even look after you if your wife's not there. You can bring them back into the country. You can't normally bring nannies or housekeepers back into you can't sponsor them on a 482. So it's sort of like a mishmash of streams that people can become eligible for. I've never processed one. They're normally processed by people who work in specialist fields like NGOs or something like that. There's probably someone who recruits palm people for, in Fiji to bring 50 people across to do something like that in, I don't know, in Goulburn or somewhere, right? So, but that's basically what that visa's for. Yeah. Erin, why are some PMVs done so quickly and others take ages? Mine was 3.5 months, just got granted, thankfully. Well, I had a guess, I'd say you're in Britain or in America, right? But I don't know. But they're processed offshore, so a lot of it is to do with the staffing at the embassies. So the British Embassy is a huge embassy for Australians, because we have a lot of Australians in Great Britain, like 1 million, right? So maybe not 1 million, but maybe 500,000. We've got a lot, right? So they need a lot of staff there because they get a lot of inquiries, right? But if you're in some other country where there's not many Australians, but there's lots of people trying to get into Australia, like pick India, right? Then you're going to have a long delay. I don't recommend PMVs to anyone unless they've got no other choice, because they take forever. What if you go through 186 transition? Was that in regards to can you resign? Ludo. I'm not sure, Ludo. What if it goes through 186 transition? If you can resign if you transitioned, there's no doubt about it. So you've got your PR, you've got freedom to work wherever you want. Umar, any chance for IT support? I think no. Joanna, can a sibling that is not in Australia write a statement for me and my partner regarding a relationship? Joanna, of course they can, but then whatever they say has to be truthful. If you're doing Format 8s, I say do 8, right? You need to do 2 from your family, 2 from his family, 2 from your friends, 2 from his friends. The department says you only need a minimum of 2, but when I was doing the migration agents course many years ago, I worked with a woman who worked in immigration and she did spouse visa processing, and she worked with a woman who picked up 2 Format 8s and said, oh, these are from her parents. They're not worth anything. I can get my parents to sign anything. So um, she took it that you really need a rainbow. You need your side, his side, your friends, his friends, and you can't provide too many documents from independent people who are swearing on the Bible that you're in a genuine relationship, right? So maybe you can't get 8. Both of my parents are dead. I wouldn't be able to get 2 parents. And I don't talk to my sister, so I wouldn't be able to get any from family, maybe my daughter. But the point is that you shouldn't get just 2. You should get more than 2, minimum 4. And if you can get 8 all over the place, go for that. So it's a good, a much better target to go for. He's alive. He's alive. Thank you much for the best explanation. Oh, my pleasure. Yeah, follow up there. Where is it? Will it be valid or accepted? I'm lodging my 801 visa. It'll. Well, as I said, do more than the minimum. But as long as it's truthful, because you've got to sign to say whatever, it doesn't matter who or where they are. I think you should have someone in Australia, surely, because you're making an onshore application. But if you say, oh, I've got a card from him, or I Skype my sister and he's always waving in the background, or something like that, I'm assuming that you're straight, but if you're not, well, no offence. Just as long as you're together still, and she knows what the situation is and she's had some first-hand knowledge, then you should be good. Aussie Phil, after nomination approval, how long do you wait? I don't know if you. Yeah, I don't know if you've lodged both applications. I assume you're doing a 186. If you lodge both of them together, then they should be pretty much one after the other. If you lodge them separately, well, they might not be linked to the same case officer, or they've been allocated elsewhere. You need to wait. You just need to wait until it goes through. Hi Ghost. Hi brother. WFM Barber. If I've already taken out my DASP, can I still come back? I'm not sure. Tell me what a DASP is. You've departing Australia superannuation payment. I see. I think. Yeah, you can. You can. To get your super back, you've got to have left the country, and you need to have no valid visa. So you've obviously got no visa. You got no pending applications either. You can make a fresh application, come back as a tourist, come back on your second or third working holiday visa, or whatever it is that you were doing before you got your super. Bitsec finally got his PR. So happy. Congratulations, champ. Now 12 months before you go for citizenship. Hello, this is OG. Been a while. Hi, Mpu101. Stories teller. Is any possibility 494 as the delivery driver in Far North Queensland? Well, is it on the list? Let me have a look. Although I'm not sure that. Goldfields, Orana, Townsville. There you go. So my app says Townsville. If you can get a job as a delivery driver in Townsville, then they can sponsor you. So it's definitely possible. It's definitely possible. You need 3 years experience to get the skills assessment. And obviously you'll need to have I assume you have to have heavy licenses. It has to be some sort of truck license. I can't imagine it's like delivering packages for Amazon or something at the back out of your I-30 or something like that. But I don't know. Who knows? But if you get the job, drop me a DM. I'd love to process it. That'd be. I processed a truck driver for Goulburn and skill assessment. I've done one. So yeah, I haven't done a delivery driver, but it'd just be fun. M. Wakas, I'm a citizen of Pakistan. I live in Oman. Last 13 years worked as a truck driver. I want to go to Australia. Wakas, if you can get a tourist visa to Australia, then for a month you can come, you can get a heavy truck driving license. You'll need to have an English test. So do the English test. Make sure that you can get an English test. If you're going to apply for a tourist visa, then you want to stress substantially that you live in Oman and you're not affected by any civil war or border wars that are occurring in Pakistan. Otherwise, you'll definitely be assumed that you want to be a refugee, right? And just say you want to come to Perth, right? So that's my advice to you. You need an English test. Don't do anything until you've got an English test. And then you need to get a tourist visa. So what could I venture out to from a 403 Palm scheme visa? I'm not exactly sure. I don't know what your skill sets are, right? But obviously, if you're here and you get a work visa, that's what you want to do. I'm pretty sure that there's restrictions on the Palm visas that you must return to your country. Doesn't stop you from making a work application from offshore. But I don't know. If you've been, say you've been driving, I don't know, tractors around, or farm workers are listed on some regional schemes and stuff. If they want to keep you permanently as a farm worker or a farmer, a crop farmer, or what cattle farm or whatever it might be, then you can look into that. The thing is, I don't know what your skill sets are. So you book an appointment and we can run and tell me where you're working and what you want to do. I can't just basically say if you're on a 403, get a 482. That doesn't work like that. Is it possible to obtain PR from a 485 as a social worker graduate? Well, if you get a job, it's possible to get permanent residence. It's almost automatic, right? In fact, it probably is automatic because you've been on a student visa. You probably already have IELTS 6, right? So if you've got IELTS 6 and you get a job, your 485 becomes a 482. You do that for 2 years, and then you'll get PR on a 186 transition, and you already meet the English requirement. So yeah. From cook to nursing, I meant. B Rabbit, I don't think so. I don't think so. You might find, I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone, right? Because you don't look like a genuine student, right? You look like someone who just wants to remain in Australia indefinitely as a student while you're working, probably for cash money, in a restaurant somewhere, and they won't pay you enough or they won't sponsor you, right? So that's what it looks like, right? So you've done a Cert 3, a Cert 4, and a diploma in cooking, and then suddenly you want to be a nurse. I don't think so. So you might find some education agent who says, yeah, you can do that, just pay me the money, but my free advice here is don't try it. Success, of course. Sponsor me, sir. Sponsor me. Please help me. Can't help you there. Sir, why you not reply? Okay, I'm up to you, Success. I'm interested. Can you guide me? Success, I don't know what you're asking me, but if you drop me a DM, I will do my best to help you. Bitsec, parents could face jail and huge fines though. I got approved with just 2. So I guess I'm lucky. You got a straight face, Bitsec, so they know you're a good man. Mims, working 5 years with a restaurant on a casual basis, got a 482 last year. Can I apply for a 186 TRT this year? Well, your your 5 years your 5 years doesn't count, right? Because you want to transition. So the transition is all about the time you spent on a 482. You need to spend 2 years on a 482. If you want to do direct entry, then you need 3 years full time or equivalent. So if you did 5 years part time, which is 20 hours a week or more, right? Could have been casual, but part time is all about the hours, right? So casual just means you're getting paid. You're not getting paid annual leave and shit like that, right? If your casual was over 20 hours a week, then you've got 2.5 years at the restaurant as a casual part timer, and you've got 12 months on your 482 because this year's almost over, so you must have 12 months. So you've got 3 years. You could lodge a direct entry right now, right? But that's me taking a lot of guess mims. But if you want to have a look at it, you book a meeting, drop me a DM. We can check it all out for you. Germanics of the appreciation. So, there you go. Mims. Me and my partner don't like taking photos of ourselves. Will we struggle to get a partner visa? Well, I suppose you could look, there's a simple way and there's a hard way. The simple way is to take photos of yourselves, right? The hard way is to go to a psychiatrist, both of you, and find out what the legal term is for fear of photography, and get them to write a letter saying that you have morbid fears of being in photos, and you therefore you can't supply any, and apart from that, away you go. But if you don't have like wedding photos, I mean, very bizarre. Mim, success. Uncle Stay Soft. I would like to relocate ASAP. I don't know where you want to relocate from, but anyway. Barista, a sec. Sir, I'm interested in working there. I'm a barista. Do you have any advice for me? Baristas can be sponsored in the Northern Territory under the Northern Territory Dharma Agreement. In fact, baristas, I think, are the ninth highest VETASES or TRA, whoever does the skills assessment for them, occupation for Dharmas. So if you're a barista, I don't know what country you're in, but if you can get a tourist visa or a working holiday visa or a student visa, if you can get to Australia, go to Darwin and work your coffee making skills and find yourself a job, and they can hire you as a barista. You get a work visa and you get PR. So you'll need 3 years barista experience to do it, probably, and you'll need an English test as well. So yes, but Darwin is the place to go, or Ayers Rock, or Alice Springs if you're really brave. Yes, Moyam Seaheim, Carolyn. I'm looking forward to a work visa at Australia. Okay. I have experience in sales and a housekeeper. Well, housekeeping is not going to help you. Sales, maybe, I don't know. But I think you'd need to get to Australia. Mims. Got a ha. Annie.mac. WH. B Rabbit. Haven't done a skills yet. That's why I want to change field. I'm 22. And which course you recommend? B Rabbit, look, if you want to do another course, become a chef, right? You've been in a kitchen for 2 or 3 years. That's the only thing I can see that's going to keep you as a student. Relay Bogile Salepi, my God. I have a South African license, code 14 for trucks, and a mobile crane operator certificate. Well, it's like I've been saying, you've got to get to Australia. You've got to get to Australia. your license in South Africa, like a license is issued by a government so that you can do something within the constraints of that government, right? So you need to get the Australian equivalent license. So if you can get a tourist visa to Perth, go to, and you're here for a month, you go queue up, go get a driver's license, go get your heavy license, do a skills assessment. If you've got 3 years, well, if you've got 3 years work experience, you didn't say how much experience you've got, and you're away, right? So those are the steps. Annie Mac, 10 years in the UK. How long will it take to convert my license to an Australian license? 1 to 3 weeks. Yeah, basically it's 1 to 3 weeks. Probably, if you're in the UK, it's probably 1 week, right? But you just need to learn, I don't know, Australian road rules. You need to pass a medical, and there's like some first aid training and things like that. So yeah, look, if you've got a UK license, or if you've got anyone who can get an ETA, an electronic tourist visa, or an electronic travel authority, whatever you want to call them, or an e-visa, which is the other one some countries can get, then you can just apply and come here, and then when you're here, you go, oh yeah, I thought I might try and get my heavy license, and blah blah blah, and you just enroll. I think it's $1,500, $1,200, $2,000, or maybe that's the cost of getting the license. I'm not sure. But you enroll in these RTOs, and you pay their fee. They'll give you a truck to go down to the assessing place, and do your test in. So you've got a vehicle, and you'll have all the things. So, but then you've got to you'll be here as a tourist, and then you've got to find work, and then they've got to process your application. 494s are taking, well, they're all taking 3 to 6 months. You can apply on your bridging visa to get work rights, because they're taking forever, but it's not guaranteed. Blah 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 blah. It's a bit of a process, but or you might just go, look, I'll come back in 6 months. Lodge the application, I'll come back in 6 months, and they might be happy with that. So it just depends on the employer and who you're with. So how much do you charge to get fees for a partner visa? I charge $3,000 for a spouse application, provided there's no difficult circumstances, like you don't have a criminal record a mile long, or you don't have children. Children from a past relationship can be a problem. No one's got. I don't do people who've got health issues. It's not my specialty. So yeah, try it on your website. It doesn't go through. Drop me a DM. I looked at it before and it was working. I can't imagine it's gone down. Dragonrecruitment.com, truck drivers, register. Register, Gmail. Thinking about it. No, come through for me. It's working. Website's definitely working. You can try again. Success, you're just begging and you haven't actually told me what you want, apart from, can I get permanent residence? I mean, I don't know. You can book a meeting. How can I contact you? Over the phone. I've almost got a phone number, but I've actually got a phone number, but I don't give it out at the moment. I have to set up. Oh, it's moved. Let me put me back there. I've got to set up my AI agent to filter calls and things like that, because I'm in a different time zone. Even my current clients call me like first thing in the morning, and it's like 5 a.m. here, and I don't care, but I'm living with my girlfriend now. She fucking hates it. I don't want to be divorced because we've got my phone number out. So I've got to set up my AI agent to answer the calls and things like that. So it won't be far away. But if you do want to chat, then drop me a DM and we can book you can pay for an appointment. Yeah, we can do it like that. I can definitely help people. Dan Checkley, 37, UK electrical engineer. What's the best way to get a visa for Perth? Mate, I'd just get a tourist visa and go visit for Christmas. You'll get 3 months, and when you're here, try and find a job. That's what I'd do. So, you're not, well, I can't imagine that someone, it's like I say to everyone, and I'm saying to someone in the UK, you're not going to get a job from offshore, right? Because the processing time is too long. And employers, they want people to start, right? So you've really got to be in the country, facing people, interviewing, and then when you get a job, you go, okay, well, I've got to go home and pack my stuff, and you apply for the visa, and I'll start shipping stuff over, or I'll get my wife and kids or whatever, and get the school year happening, and you know, do it that way. But the employment is really the only feasible way, and to get into the country, unless you've got millions of points. And well, like, you know, 189 visas, they've probably just done the last round. It's not going to be any more for 10 months, right? So, and then 15 months, you're probably too old. You're 37 anyway to get there on a points test, because your age is on the decline. The points test is probably going to change as well. Just jump on a tourist visa, get out here, find work. That's what I'd do. Is it easier to get visa for New Zealand than Australia? I'd say it probably is, but you know, New Zealand, like, nothing against Kiwis. Some of my best friends have been Kiwis, and I enjoy going to New Zealand. Although I don't like Auckland, but I enjoy going to Queenscliff, you know, Queenstown, go skiing and stuff like that. There's really, like, a lot of people come to Australia basically because of the lifestyle, right? If you want to earn money, you go to America or Europe. There's more money, right? No one moves to Australia because there's money, unless they're coming from a poorer Asian country, right? But no one from Europe is moving to Australia because they're going to earn more, or because the businesses offer greater careers or something like that, right? People come here for lifestyle, right? They might come here because it's safe. They might, well, when I say here, I'm in Thailand, but if you're in Australia, right? But New Zealand, there's not the same lifestyle. There's not the golden beaches. Like, it's further south than Tasmania, right? So it's cold, right? So it's nice. The people are lovely, and it's a very pretty place, and certainly I would recommend it as a tourist destination. But to go and live there permanently, I think that's a bit of a stretch for most people. So yeah, nothing against the place or Kiwis, but yeah. Sir, I'm not married, I'm single, I have no health issue, no criminal records, I struggle a lot with money. Well, success. Yeah, if you've got no cash, then you're not going to be able to get to Australia, because you need 10, probably 20,000 Australian dollars just to get here, make any kind of visa application, to do a student visa. I don't know what your skills are, but yeah. So don't know what your occupation is, right? So and I can't live off being forever grateful. So Dan, is the electrical engineer on the skills list and something I could be sponsored on? Well, I'm sure you can be sponsored on it. Let's have a look. Boop. Electrical engineer. Electrical engineer is on the core skills occupation list. As long as you've got 12 months experience, you're in. So you've got 12 months experience, I'm sure. Dan, so you need to find a sponsor. If you've got my app, Aussie Visa Mate, there's a job sponsors list. Oh, but there's no one listed for electrical engineers. Well, don't download the app because you won't get any job sponsors. But if you can find a sponsor, then you're good to go. So, like, you can approach people and say, I'm coming to Australia to watch the cricket, and or whenever you're going to come. And you know, do you have any job offers? I'd like to have a chat and all that. And they might do a phone interview. They might pre-book you for a physical interview when you arrive. but they're not going to make it. Look, very unlikely that you're going to. You wouldn't go. Don't go through an agency. An agency won't deal with you at all from offshore, unless you've got, rare as hen's teeth skills. But if once you get here, they'll be all over you. So yeah. Ryan, how quick is it to get PR after a 482 visa? So, well, if you've got a 482 visa, 2 years on the 482, you can get a 186, and processing time on that's about, let's say it's 12 months, so it'll take another year to get your PR. So, my study has finished in art. I have no future CEO. Is there any chance to win AAT? Oh, my study is finished. You're in the ART. I have no future. That's got to be an SEO. Is there any chance to win the AT? Well, none. If you're appealing a decision on either a student visa cancellation or student visa application that you now no longer need, then if your course is finished, you need to apply for a 485. And you need to do that within 6 months of finishing your course. So you need to organise your situation so you can make an application for your 485 and then withdraw your ART claim so that there's no hearing and you don't face a debt to the Commonwealth, right? So yeah, but you have no prospects of success. Yes. Hi mate, I got 90 points for the 189 environmental engineer. Any chance getting by next round? Well, there probably isn't going to be next round. I checked before I went live. They still haven't put the figures up, so we don't know how many people they offered in November. There was 10,000 places left. They said it was a big round, and last year it was the last round for the year. So as soon as we know, we'll know. Environmental engineer. You need a job as an environmental engineer. I used to have a mate. Well, I do have a mate, but I think he's retired now. He used to work for an environmental consultancy. And he was always looking for environmental engineers. And I always used to send him people, but he never actually employed any of the ones I sent them. Even he's he's interesting. He'd say, very interesting. Oh, said, you want him, John? Oh, no. He's a great guy, though. Went to high school with him. Environmental engineers. Environmental engineer. What do you want to know? Any chance? 233. We took less than 20. You'd need. Well, there's 400 applicants. You'd need 90. You've got 90 points. So you'll just need to look and see. Like you're right on the cusp, but if they've taken all the spots, they're not going to do another round till maybe August or September next year. So depends how long you want to wait for. Navita, civil engineer, Western Australia graduate, 80 points. Where's my chance? You need to get a job. Civil engineers. Civil engineers, 9,300 applicants, 416 offers, 90 points was the cutoff. 100 is what they're saying for 190s. Western Australia, there's 5,300 people and they took 345 last year. So with 80 points, I think you have no chance. You need 100 or something. So, yeah. No success. It's not free visa, free ticket. Sorry. We've done that. Ryan, yeah, fitters are in demand. There's no doubt about it. Abdullah sent me 17 roses. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. What's the processing time to get PR after a 4? So it's a 191. A 191 processing time, regional provisional, 7 to 14 months for the 191 visa. Ms. Topher, I know in New Zealand a less job offer than Australia, but is it easier to get residency there? I think it is easier to get residency there. But the thing is, if you've got a job in Australia, it's easy to get residency here. I've just basically been saying that anyone who gets a work visa is going to get PR. They've just got to work their job for 2 years plus processing, like maybe 3 years, and you get PR. If you've got a job, you can get PR in Australia. It's like the seesaw. Like if you've got any sort of skilled job, I mean, the work visas are so broad. If you get paid, like you could be a truck driver in a mine who's earning 160,000. They can do the specialist skills occupation for what's essentially an unskilled job, driving a truck, right? If you're an aged care worker, well, you only earn $52,000, and there's an industry agreement for them. Security guards, there's industry agreements for them. There's a lot of industry agreements for low-paid workers, which allow them to get work visas, and then eventually allows them to get permanent residence. So the thing is, you can't just. It's not like it was 10 years ago when you could do a hairdressing course and you can get PR, right? You can't just do a course and expect to get PR these days. That system is dead, right? It might not be buried yet, but it's pretty close to being buried. And we're taking 5 to 6 times as many people on work visas as we are under general skills migration. So that should tell you something. Is it safe to travel on bridging visa B while the ART lodged in May? 491 bridging C not active yet. Well, you have a bridging visa, so you can remain in Australia. So if you leave the country and they make a decision while you're not here, your bridging visas will be cancelled and you won't be able to get back into the country. I don't know what the ART is doing currently, but they now have all these powers to look at a application and say, this has no prospects of success, rejected, without a hearing. So they don't even need to notify you. They just write to you and say, we've looked at your papers and this is BS. So we've just said, no, you haven't made an argument. So, so is it safe? For 95% of people or 99% of people, it'll be safe. Are you planning on leaving for 6 months? Then no, it's not safe. And if I don't know when your hearings, I don't know if you're still going to get, notifications. If the ART writes to you and says your hearing's in 4 weeks, are you going to get that notification? I don't know, right? If you're just going home for Christmas for a week, I think you're probably okay, right? But every time you leave the country on a bridging visa, you're at risk. There's no guarantee you can get back into the country, right? So, the Billionaires Club, can I leave the employer after 1 year of a 186 visa? Is it a problem to my PR? Well, I had that question earlier. If you were direct entry, then if you're on transition, there's no problem, right? If you're on a direct entry, well, you can say you've worked for a year, but the question is, why do you want to leave? If you've got a better offer, then if the employer goes, oh, we've paid all this money, and they complain to the department, if you've got a better offer, you can say, look, they wouldn't pay me more money, and I got a better offer, so I left. I'm a permanent resident, I can do what I want, right? I'm still working in my field, but I'm earning 20% more and paying $10,000 a year more in tax, right? So I'm better off and I haven't done anything wrong, and the department will agree with you. But if you go and decide to live under a palm tree or register for the dole or something like that just because you don't want to work, then yeah, they might cancel your visa. They might say you had no intention of working for this company for 2 years, which is what you said you'd do when you applied for the visa. So it's an intention, right? Because there's no fact in a future event. No one can predict the future, right? It's just your intention, and you can say, well, my intention was to work there for 2 years, but then someone else came along and offered me 20% more money. So of course I took it. And if you want to be really safe, you go back to your boss and you say, so-and-so across the road's offered me 20% more, will you match it? And if they go no, you go, well, I'm resigning then, thanks very much, right? So if you want to be safe, wait 2 years. Right? All these people who agree to things, and then as soon as they've got what they want to just walk away from all their obligations. It's not very good. Is it safe? We've done you. B Rabbit, if you let your 485 visa expire, then apply back to Australia for a different course. You can. If you're on a 485, you can't apply for a student visa now anyway. You have to do it from offshore. So it doesn't matter whether you still need to be a genuine student, right? And look, if you've done 3 courses and you're on a 485 and you've been a cook for, I don't know, 2, 3, 4.5 years, and you still can't find a sponsor, I can't imagine they're going to let you have a second chance. You've had 4 or 5 years in Australia to make a go of it, and you've failed, right? So I don't try a different country. Is it safe to travel? We've done you a million times. My visa was granted, and right now I'm looking for a job offer. Randa, what do you do? Tell me what you do. I was selected, PEV, Pacific Engagement. Yep. So you got the visa, but you don't have the job offer. There's websites for that. I can't help you with that one, unfortunately. Mbanwi, if I have a job offer from Australia, how long will the company take to process my visa? Well, typically it takes sort of 4 to 6 weeks, depending on how organised the company is and if they have an agent or not, to process, to lodge the application, collect all the documents and things like that, especially if it's the first time. And then if it's a work visa, it'll take 3 to 6 months before it's granted. I can apply 186 visa outside. I got bridging visa B with link 186 visa. Can I withdraw if ART have a student visa? If you've got a user 702, if you withdraw the ART, then that will withdraw the bridging visa on your ART, and it'll probably take about 6 weeks before it's actually withdrawn. But it shouldn't affect the bridging visa you've got for your 186. So just make sure you've got one, and you should be okay. So worst case scenario is if you're onshore and they cancel both of them for whatever reason, you'll have to reapply, and then you might have to apply for work rights because you'll probably end up getting bridging visa C. But yeah, like, you need a migration agent, champ. It's not the kind of thing you can do yourself, right? So book an appointment or book a meeting and I can get all the facts and I can tell you what to do. My visa was granted, and right now I'm looking for a job offer. Yes, we got that. Where's Singh gone? 186 processing time is 13 to 14 months for 50% of applicants at the moment. It's difficult to get a job offer in Australia because there's 1.3 million migrants who are international students or graduates or working holiday visa people trying to get jobs so they can work on work visas, right? So it's competitive. If you're not in Australia, I think you have very little chance. Love how realistic you are. People are definitely overcomplicating things. Yes. Darren, any movement? Direct directory went up to 13 months. It's still 13 to 18 months. I looked yesterday, Darren. Quack. Since there is less chance for 189 for chefs, what would be the best path for a chef? Well, just forget about your experience and your points. Get a job. That's the government wants teachers and medical people and engineers and builders and they don't even want IT people anymore. They haven't done IT for 2 rounds now. Why is that occupation still on the list? They should be removing it, all those occupations, and just leave them on the seesaw. Let them get jobs. Get a job as a chef. I had a Thai English student who got a working holiday visa. He went to Cairns. He had 2 jobs at 5-star hotels, 2 job offers at 5-star hotels within a week of landing, and he had IELTS 5, right? And the only cuisine he could cook was Thai. Cook was Thai. Cook was Thai. And so I don't know where you are, but go to Cairns, right? Especially this time of year, go to Byron Bay. They're like, all the restaurants and places like that, they're desperate in these regional centres at Christmas for staff. Yeah. Residing in Queensland, it's a bloody big place. Cairns, Townsville, Gold Coast, big tourist places is where you should be. Sunny, hi Bus, what do you suggest for studying MBA in Leadership and Innovation in South Australia? I don't know anything about any courses in South Australia. If there's a winery course, it's probably a good place to go. I had a mate who did the MBA at Melbourne, said it was absolutely incredible. Fees were expensive. I did my master's in film production at AFTRS, which was called a Master of Production and Screen or something like that. It was basically an MBA on film, which I'd also highly recommend. But it just depends on the school and the courses. So, of course, an MBA is not going to get you, it's not going to, of itself, doesn't get you permanent residence or anything, but it might give you a very senior, place to run skills to run a company and get involved and things like that. Hey Susie, we got 1 minute, people. If 309 in process, can they apply for skilled work visa? They can, but there's not much point. No, a skilled like a 482. A 482 they can because they can get into the country. Yeah, for sure. If it's a 482, you only apply for 2 years though, because the training, they're going to slug you the training fee. Any chance PR in disability and Woolworths? I don't know about Woolworths. Disability, like aged caring and disability workers are on the list. You can register if you're an aged care or disability worker. Really, aged care workers is what I'm looking for. You can register on www.dragonrecruitment.com, which is our new recruitment arm. Englishman needs from Ghana and need jobs. It's all about skills. Okay, no worries, people. At 6 o'clock here in Thailand, 10 o'clock in Sydney. Great talking to everyone. I will be back tomorrow. And download Aussie Visa, mate. If you're looking for work in aged care, actually, if anyone's actually still watching and you're a recruiter or an accountant, a student accountant, I have some opportunities. So get in touch. But if you're an aged care worker, then